Hi, welcome to Drinking While Sober, Season 2, Episode 3, where we're going to talk about mental versus physical with Marichel Matthews. How you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, Latia. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Our first question today is, what's more important to you, mental, physical, or both?
Oh gosh, Latia, when I think of that question, I mean, like what comes first, right? The chicken or
Yeah,
the egg, right? Can you actually have one without the other? I think, both are very important, right? You need the physical strength kind of for your body to function, but then you also need the mental strength, right? For the
yes,
mind to process. So I think, there's really no more important than the other. I think where we as humans kind of struggle is how do we find the balance with effort into putting both, the exercise we need for the body and the mind to perform at its best.
yes. So, with that being said, how do you stay positive with your busy schedule? Like, I know you're a busy woman, you're a mom, you inspire people. I know you inspire me, and you got like two businesses, you got businesses going on, and you and your husband work together. So, how do you stay positive with that? Your kids, it's just
You
everything.
know, I I honestly have to say busy is probably more of like a mental perspective, right? Like I learned to stay productive, not busy. So productivity is really just, taking the actions you need on tasks that get you closer and closer to your goal, right? So I stay positive by making sure that I mindset train all the time, right? Like I feel like I'm constantly training my mind to
Mhm.
again be that best and perform at its best, right? To process. And once my mind is processing, my body keeps up, right? Like I've got to
Yes.
have not only the mental endurance, but the physical endurance. So I stay organized, right? I make sure that I set clear goals. I create, strategic plans of action, and I make sure to keep the promise to myself by taking those actions, right?
Yes.
So I think it's really just it's really training yourself to stay in that place where you don't see the world as busy, right? You're seeing the world as staying really, really productive. And in the meantime, giving yourself grace if you do kind of fall off track, you
That
know?
is true. I told my broker recently, I was like, it's fun stress. She was like, I never heard anybody say anything about fun stress. Like sometimes, it's hard in the moment, but you got to have fun while you're doing it. Find a fun thing about the thing you're stressing about and just make it happen from there. The other
Absolutely,
question I wanted to,
100% agree.
the other question I wanted to ask you is what spot inspired you to be the woman you are today?
I think my inspiration has always been just being able to affect others, right? If I can leave everybody I touch as 1% better than when I found them, to want to make themselves and work on themselves to be 100, 1% better. Just think after 100 days, how much better are they going to be? Right. So
That's
even if
true.
it's making somebody happy for a moment or finding, the positive in the day or giving them something insightful, or advice, I find like to me that inspires me to be a better version of myself.
Hey, that sounds amazing. I need to do that because sometimes I kick my own butt. I kick my own self. So, what sets you apart from others mentally?
I think what my biggest like secret is, or my secret weapon is that I am so comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Hmm.
I feel like when you're uncomfortable is where you find, right, your opportunity to grow.
Yes.
It's where you find the ability to see how strong you really are, right? When you come across challenging times, you come across difficult times, when you don't know the answer, right, on a test, and you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what that right answer is, or you're trying to figure out what the solution is to find the answer, that's where you're being your best self. So I think that's what really sets me apart mentally is just knowing that I'm okay with being uncomfortable. I don't
Yes.
find a way to run back to that comfort zone.
You're not a scared. You're not afraid of taking risk. You seem like a risk
Absolutely
taker.
not. I would say I'm pretty daring, a little bit more adventurous than the norm, but yeah.
And that's a great aspect to have. That's a great characteristic too. How do you not lose yourself when you feel trapped or depressed?
You know, I think one thing that's really good about me, especially in my adult years and learning how to identify um, my best self, is learning when to check out, right?
Yes.
And I think, in my mode of planning and creating schedules and checklists and all of that, right, to kind of keep everything, all the wheels moving. I also make sure to put in personal growth goals, right? So whether it's, a spa day every month
Yeah.
or making sure that I have the time scheduled on the calendar, to have pampered, to have days where I'm pampered. I make sure to do that for myself, right? And then when it's just time to shut down the phone, shut down the computer, it's learning to walk away and truly mentally disconnecting, not just physically,
That's
right?
the
So I walk
hardest
out of
part.
it always is the hardest part, especially today where we're, so used to having information at our fingertips,
Yes.
right? It's like a new addiction we have of like making sure that we're not missing out on anything,
Mhm.
right? But it's also trying to find value and beauty in those moments of silence, right?
Yes. Just
And having
stepping
the
away.
conversation with yourself.
Hmm.
So I think that's how you really are able to pull yourself out of those dark places, right? It's because in those times is where you quiet everything and have the conversation with yourself.
Yes, that's definitely true because some people don't even think about personal time. It's like,
Finding things to bring you joy, even in that little moment. So
yes,
absolutely.
yes. So, what are some ways you strengthen your mental and physical abilities?
So there's a book that I've read and I'm rereading again. It's called Atomic Habits, right? And even though I've read it before and I'm reading it again, right? It's just again finding new habits, right? That are going to create, more massive action for me to get closer to my goals. So I do habit tracking, right? So
Hmm.
for instance, I'm making sure that on my habit tracker, I am taking note of how many, am I listening to new podcasts? Am I journaling every day? Am I working out? Am I taking time to read? Am I taking time to make sure that I have story time with the kids at bedtime?
Yes.
It's the little habits that we don't even think about. Like one that I'm tracking right now is eating at home and cooking at home.
Yes, that's important. I was reading in Rich Dad Poor Dad that it was one guy, he lost his family because it was all like work, work, work. And when he came home, all he would do is work. And we forget about those little things in life, like just sitting down, cooking a meal, and let's just eat together. Let's talk. It's like an hour of our time where we just sit down, talk, eat, and enjoy each other. And that way you don't lose your family throughout work, like we don't think about those little things.
Or lose yourself, right?
That is
Because
true.
you don't want your only identity to be, your job, right? Like you want your identity to truly be you and what you came on this earth to do, right? Like you don't want to miss your mark. If
Yes.
there's a plan for you, you want to make sure you're delivering on the gifts that you have and sharing that with as many people as you can.
Yes, I love it. You have some gems, some tools that you can give. I will interview any day. I want you to tell my listeners about you, your business, how everything is booming for you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we actually are real estate investors in the multifamily space. So we like to purchase and bring investors with us to have the opportunity to invest in 50, 100 plus, 200 plus unit apartments. And together we give them not only cash flow benefits and equity, right, but they also get the tax incentives that are associated with that. Um, Best of all, I get to meet new people. I get to affect more lives. I get to introduce people to, that best version of themselves that they have not had a chance yet to meet.
Yeah.
So
That's so amazing. I always ask this question in my podcast and it kind of throw everybody off, but what would you tell your younger self right now?
I would tell my younger self do it. What are you waiting for? Right? Like,
Yes,
I feel like, when we're younger, like we have this program perception of what success is supposed to look like. And
that's
instead
true.
of just following and listening to that inside voice that wants to be adventurous, that is dreaming of something that nobody else is. So, my question would be, don't wait for that perfect time. So whether it's, I'm waiting to buy a house to do this, I'm waiting to get married to do this, I'm waiting to have kids to do this. It'll never be the perfect time. Why wait? Just
Don't
do
wait,
it.
y'all. Don't wait. You hear that? Take the risk. I appreciate you, Marichel, for letting me interview you. I hope that you and your family have a blessed day. And I hope you guys go check out her and her husband's business and her and her family. They're so amazing. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lucia. Thanks for allowing me this time and space. Anytime, I'd be more than happy to come on this podcast.